actually give the floor to Connie, who represents SM Foundation. SM Foundation is the CSR arm of SM Investments. And it's our advocacy group, which actually is supported by the whole group or all of the SM companies. No? We have three major advocacies, which are education, health, and livelihood. Under education, we have scholarship program for college students. And then for livelihood, we provide free training to farmers. And so far, since they started these programs, we have supported over 2,000 scholars and over 4,000 farmers. For the farmers, it's interesting because their produce actually are sold in our SM stores. And then the health advocacy has two types of activities or major activities, which are the medical missions in the wellness centers. And that's what Connie spearheads. But she also spearheads the Operation Tulong, which is an emergency response activity that they do whenever there's a calamity. So I'll give the floor now to Connie Angeles, our famous our famous officer in SM Foundation. She's known to be very committed in civic programs, and as I think everyone knows her as the Kapwa Ko Mahal Ko host in the past. No? So now she's very much dedicated in servicing SM Foundation and its beneficiaries.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to present to you SM's emergency response in times of disaster and calamities. It is known as Operation Tulong Express. SM Foundation, as what Ms. Coras mentioned, is the socio-civic arm of the SM group of companies, which, aside from its several advocacy projects, also implements special projects when the need arises. Operation Tulong Express is the Foundation's emergency response to victims of natural calamities and disasters. Our mechanism is in place that is ready to give immediate assistance in times of calamities and other emergencies. At the height of the recent flooding in many parts of the country, brought about by weeks of heavy rains, SM again manifested its responsiveness and readiness to extend assistance via distribution of relief goods, which started Tuesday, August 7 of last week. Operation Tulong Express relief operations was immediately activated in several SM malls. SM Supermarket or Hypermarket makes available the goods for immediate distribution to affected communities. Early beneficiaries of the still ongoing relief operations were Novaliches, Marikina, Pasay, around the vicinity of the Mall of Asia, Santa Mesa, and Fairview. 2 days after, SM malls, through concerted efforts with personnel and volunteers, went on a simultaneous distribution which benefited the following: Calamba, Marikina, Valenzuela, Marilao, Rosario, and many other affected communities where we have our presence benefited as well. When calamity strikes, data and other reports are first obtained from the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, or the NDRRMC. Also, from the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the DOH, as well as from the local government units. To be able to serve fast and effectively distribute the relief goods, the SM Foundation and the malls closely coordinate with LGU's Social Welfare Office, the arm that identifies the affected beneficiaries, and the barangay officials of the communities. For an orderly distribution, stubs corresponding to the number of relief goods to be distributed are issued. These stubs are handed out by the Social Welfare Office to the beneficiaries, which they will use to claim at the SM distribution sites. Stubs are then given back to SM personnel as the goods are claimed. Only areas which were not accessible at that time were left for a later date for relief assistance. To date, SM Foundation have distributed 44,200 relief goods, benefiting 44,200 families in a span of only 4 days and still counting. At the onset of a calamity, Operation Tulong booths are set up in SM malls, enjoining shoppers to donate and participate. In the past years, Caritas Manila has been a partner. All mall collections in kind are turned over to them for sorting and distribution. Caritas, in turn, sends a post-project report. It is a fact that there is an element of health in everything that we do, especially in times of calamities. The health and well-being of community members are of prime importance that alongside with the relief operations for the victims of the continuous heavy downpour, SM mobile clinics are deployed and are being utilized to serve. With the help of volunteer doctors, pharmaceutical companies, teachers and students, volunteers, Operation Tulong Express medical missions have been conducted in the following areas since August 9 last week. We were in the 4 barangays in Marikina, 3 barangays in Taytay, 5 barangays in Valenzuela, 2 in Novaliches, and 2 barangays in Fairview and Quezon City. Operation Tulong Express medical missions are usually conducted when we have determined from the Department of Health the illnesses that are common in the affected communities. Usually, and more often, cough and cold preparations, medicines for diarrhea, and topical ointments for skin diseases, and doxycycline for anti-leptospirosis, a dreaded disease during flooding brought about by rat urine, which comes in contact with open wounds, are the drugs of choice that are brought to the areas. Relief operations and medical missions are still ongoing where it is needed and where waters have subsided. From August 9 to 12 of this year, 12,600 individuals from 18 areas were served by the medical missions. As SM Foundation adheres to the maxim, people helping people, the Foundation's emergency response team is always right where we are most needed. As in the past, Operation Tulong Express efforts were very much evident. Many affected provinces all over the country benefit from SM's benevolence in times of calamities, such as during the aftermath of Typhoons Ondoy, Falcon, Pedring, Kiel, and Sendong. Nothing seems impossible when the greatest desire and intention is to help. For when the roads are not passable, the C family lend their chopper to ferry doctors and medicines to the site, as in the case of the Real Quezon landslide. Furthermore, it may be worth mentioning that we are among the first, if not the first NGO to establish a blood bank for SM employees. In times of emergencies, employees and family members can avail of blood free of charge. Last year, at the height of the dengue season, which is usually from July to December, collected blood from SM Investments Corporation employees, or SMIC, that were deposited in our exclusive blood bank proved to be beneficial not only to employees and their relatives who needed emergency transfusions for dengue and other needs. The excess collected blood were then donated to government hospitals and have helped save lives of dengue patients. SM Foundation donated not only blood but IV fluids as well to several government hospitals. Last April of this year, a bloodletting activity with SM Engineering Department had been conducted. Excess blood from SMDD personnel shall be donated to government hospitals where these are urgently needed by dengue patients. Disasters do not warn, they destroy. Unmindful of one's safety in times of calamities, as we go about doing our task of helping people, we believe that great strength comes from unity of minds and efforts. I would like to enjoin everyone to be an SM Foundation volunteer. For more information, you may contact SM Foundation at those telephone numbers, or you can visit us at our website. Thank you.